Hey guys, it's Yameli.
And Jamie, and we're back with another secret.
And for today's secret, we'll be talking about the difference between loving someone and being in love with someone.
So, a while ago, I read this quote, and it said, the difference between liking, loving someone, and being in love with someone is the same thing as for now, for a while, and forever. And once I read that quote, I was like, that explains a lot because I feel like it's so hard to know the difference between what is loving someone and being in love with someone. Like, I know a lot of people don't really know, like, when they are in love with someone.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of my friends and even me, I thought at one point, like, I love someone, and then once you really love someone, you're like,
I didn't love that person
yeah,
that
I
I
was
thought
like,
I did.
that's not even love. And one of my examples that I can put, think I have an example for each and every like stage. Um, like I have the one with liking someone. I thought I loved that person, but it's just that I just like that person. Like this person was, it was a high school thing, you know, like
Yeah.
high school 3 months little relationships. I don't really consider them like a relationship, so I don't want to say that's my ex because I've only had one real ex, but it was like a little thing in high school that I had, and it lasted like 3 months, and he cheated on me, and I was devastated, crying in my
Like your
mom's
heart was
arms.
broken.
Yes, and I was like, I love him. And then I realized, like, after a while, I was like, I didn't love him. It was just more the fact that he cheated on me that hurt me more
Yeah.
than me loving him or anything
Yeah.
like that. So I feel like once, like, after a while, you kind of notice, like, that wasn't love.
Yeah.
I just liked him. I did like him as a person, you know, whatever.
Because now that you've gone through loving someone,
Yeah.
you realize
Yeah.
that the feelings you had towards him wasn't like love.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Right?
It wasn't love at all. It was just like more like I was heartbroken over the fact that you got cheated on. Like
Yeah.
that shit hurts, you know. Even though you don't love that person, but that was what happened, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I really thought I loved this guy, and it was just like I was heartbroken over the fact that he cheated on me or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have another example too. Sorry, I was gonna cut you off. I have another example where, like my ex, I wasn't really like in love with him, and I think the difference was he was my best friend. I have a lot of love for him. I hope that he does well in life. I never want anything bad to happen to him. But after I got broken up with him, like I don't love him anymore. I have love for him.
Yeah.
And I think that's another difference that a lot of people don't know. But when I was in a relationship with him, I wasn't in love with him. I just loved him. And then now that we're broken up, I have love for him. Like I'm pretty sure you've had
Yeah.
situations like that.
Yeah, but what can you tell us that's the big difference between loving and being in love?
Oh
Like,
my god, I feel okay. So I feel like I've been in love with before, and I think the biggest difference to me in my experience is definitely when you're in love with someone. Not only do you just forgive anything that they do and you accept them the way they are completely as a whole entire person and what they do with you and in your relationship, but I feel like another thing is that after your relationship, like let's say you guys break up or you guys stop talking or whatever the case is, like what happened to me, I feel like no matter what, I will always love that person. I might not always be in love with that person, but I would always love them.
yeah.
So I think that's my biggest difference.
Okay.
What do you think?
So for me, we kind of like talked about this before,
Yeah.
and we do have some different opinions at the end, right? Because yeah. So if you see yourself in the future with them, you're sure that you want to be with them, that you know you want that, like you're sure 100%. So I feel like that's when you know you're in love. When you just love someone, you're not sure of it. Like you can see yourself doing it in the future, but you're not sure. Like you don't want to do that right now, like right there and
You're
then.
not ready for that. Yeah.
And then where me and her weren't thinking the same was when you're in love. When you're in love, for me, when you're in love and you fall out of that love or being in love with that person, you break up with that person, I feel like me personally, I wouldn't still love the person. I would have love for them because, like you said, that's something different too.
Yeah.
Having love for someone, loving them, and being in love with a person is different. So I feel like if I'm in love with someone, which I feel like I never have been, if you're in love with them and you break up with the person, you like, I wouldn't say I'm still in love with them. I would say I have love for them. Like you said, I would want good things to happen to them. I never want them to do bad, you know, like if I see them around, I'll be like, hey, how are you, how you been, you know, things like that. So I feel like that's where me and you went like off a little bit.
Yeah, we drifted because for the most part we think like it's the same. We think the same, but now that I'm thinking about it, now that you're saying all of this, I think that the reason you feel like that is because you've never fallen in love.
Maybe.
So you feel like you'll have love for that person, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I don't know. I guess comment down below like what you think. But for me, I feel like once you fall out of love or you stop talking to that person, you'll still love them. Because I feel like no matter what, whether they come back, one thing that I always say is when you're in love is that the reason why you're also in love is because you never lose hope.
Yeah.
And I think that when you love someone, like in your relationship, you do lose hope, and that's why you kind of break up. But when you're in love with someone, I don't think you ever lose hope, because I never lost hope. The guy, Mr. Chocolate, that we always talk about again, that's the guy who I really feel like I fell in love with, and he would do so much things. It was so toxic, and I knew that it was wrong. I knew 100% that it was wrong. And you just
let it happen because you were in love.
and I knew that he wouldn't change. I knew that the relationship wouldn't change. I knew that he would never want to be with me. I knew all of this. I'm 100% sure of it. But for some reason, deep down in my heart or in my soul, whatever it is, I always had hope. So I felt like that he would change. So I think that that's why I like say that I was in love with him. And because of that hope is because you will always love them, because you will always hope that they would change. That's never gonna go away. Versus when you love someone, it does go away. They do stuff and they mess up, and then you're like, forget about it. Like, I'm done. Forget about it. I'm done. And then that's why you don't love that person anymore. So I think that that's why there's a difference. And maybe, I don't know, maybe that's why you don't really see where I'm coming from, because you've never been in love.
But the thing with me is that I had told her before also that if you're in love, let's say I was in love with my ex, which I wasn't. Let's say I was in love with my ex, and then I broke up with him, and then like I'm with my current partner now. I can't tell him I'm still in love with my ex. Like, obviously that wouldn't come out of my mouth, even if you are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if you are, you're not gonna say that. But I feel like I would say I still have love for him. You know, I can't be like I still love him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a little bit out of like respect, because of respect,
of course.
You don't say that.
Obviously, you wouldn't say
like that. Wouldn't say that either.
But if you're talking to your friends or whatever, you're talking about exes, loving people and stuff. Okay. I personally will be like, I care for him. I have love for him. This and this and that, you know. But I can't be like, I'm still in love with him. I don't know.
It's the words you choose.
Yeah, and I had talked to my family about it and some of my friends, and I asked them what they thought. And I feel like everybody's had so many different opinions of it. And I was like, damn, like people really think like so differently and like about love. You know what it is? Like, it's so hard to explain like love.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. But one thing, I feel like the weirdest one that we heard was Lauren's mom. I think that one was the weirdest one. She said that. What did she say?
She said like, that love is stronger than being in love.
Yeah, that was.
But the thing is that she like explained it in Spanish, so we feel like in Spanish saying those words in Spanish are like crazier. Like saying love is amar, right? And then being in love is enamorar, right?
I don't know.
Something like that.
Because, okay, so the thing is, I feel like why we're so confused is because of what you said. When you're in Spanish, you're a little kid or someone has a crush on you, you always like, esa te enamora de ti.
Or like
So
my
that's
mom be
like a
like,
crush.
yeah.
So would that be
Tú
love?
tienes un enamorado.
Yeah, and then amar is being in love. Because yo te amo. Or yo te adoro. I don't know, man. Spanish is
Yo te
weird.
adoro, yo te amo.
Te
Estoy enamorado de
te
ti.
quiero mucho.
Y estoy enamorado de ti.
That's a lot. I don't
That's
know.
crazy.
In Spanish, let's not even go to the
Yeah,
Spanish.
that's too much.
It's too much. But that's too much.
Yeah.
The best one was your sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said it I think she,
Yeah.
I was like.
She basically said, if you see yourself in the future with them, if you're sure of it, you know, if you're ready for it. So also, what was it? Your brother said that. He said
something weird too
yeah,
to me.
He said that being in love is like now, like is not. What was it?
It's the opposite of what I said, because I think love is for now. No, love is for a while, and being in love is forever. And he did the opposite.
Yeah, he said that love is forever, and being in love is for now. So I kind of saw like where he was coming from,
Me too.
right? Because you can have a partner and be with a partner and be like, damn, I'm in love with him. I love him so much. This and this and that. Like, I see myself in the future. I want to have kids with him. I want to have his kids. You know, I want to live with him. I want to cook for him. But then you guys break up and you're like, I don't like him anymore. I don't love him anymore. Like, you know, that actually happens. So that's why I feel like everybody that we asked and everybody that we talked about this topic said different things, because you see it differently. You know what I mean? Like, look at Lauren's mom, Emily, Lauren, my friends, your brother, us. Like, it's all different.
I think a big part of that is how your relationships have been in the past. So everything that you have experienced determines on how you see love. And if you've been in love, if you haven't, and stuff like that, I think that really alters your perception on it 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Because almost everybody had, I don't think not one person really agreed on it. Not even you and me agreed on it 100% of how we view what being in love and love is.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy, because you would think that it would be the same for almost everyone. And it's actually not.
It's not.
It's
not
so crazy.
at all. Yeah, so like you said, it depends like how the relationships you've had before have been. Because there's a bunch of people that I know that have been heartbroken, cheated on, lied to, and when they think about love, or when they're talking about love, they just say, fuck that. They're just like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want to know about love. That's some kid shit or whatever, you know?
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't blame them.
I don't.
There's times where like stuff happens and
they don't have hope anymore. Like they just don't look in the future. Like, don't look ahead, or like think about that someone's out there for them. You know, like
I've been through that. I've definitely, like, you talk to certain people for so long, and then or you keep talking to people back to back and it doesn't work out, and you're just like, shit, like, is everybody like this? And that's why I feel like people generalize
you don't want to
so many
trying.
relationships, and then you're just like, you're literally like, fuck love. Should I be cursing? No.
I said,
but you're like
it too.
You're like, fuck love, and it's understandable, but I feel like you just have to keep going, because one thing I have learned through every messed up relationship that I've been through every toxic thing, through everything, I've learned that you learn more and more. And
every time you meet someone too.
Every time you meet someone, you learn. And for example, for my past thing that I was talking to this guy, one thing I've learned is stop trying to make it work. Stop doing that. I hate that about us girls, that we try to make it work. We try to put
hard,
excuses.
Like,
You really try to make so many excuses for this other person that you're talking to, because you want it to work so bad. Like, I want this one to work so bad. I like this one so much. But in reality, it's like, don't change yourself. Love yourself. That's another thing. Love yourself first before someone else can love you. And I feel like just that's the one thing I learned. Don't change yourself, girls,
for someone else.
Yes, don't. It's bad.
Don't.
A few moments later.
So another thing I feel like your experience changes is your perception on what you want in life as well. Like, once you get older, you grow, and you change what you're looking for in a person.
Yeah. Like when I was I believe, 16 something, like I had a boyfriend. I never saw myself with him like now in the future, now that I'm 21. Like I didn't think about having a house with him, having kids. No, that didn't even cross my mind. So I feel like
crossed my mind either.
yeah, so I feel like now that I'm older, I feel like I can see myself with the person that I am now because I'm more mature. Like we're just grown now, so it's like you think about that, like you have to. You know?
It's like when you're younger, you definitely look for like,
oh, he's my boyfriend.
Yeah, and you
Let's
like
go out to
popularity,
eat.
superficial stuff, like looks and stuff like that. And then now it's like you don't look for looks as much. I mean, you might have a type here and there, but you really look for, does he have a job? Does he have a car? Not that that's super, super important, but you know, it gets you around. Does he have does he live alone? And if he doesn't live alone, is he planning on moving out? Does he have aspirations? Like all of that. I think that definitely changes because when I was younger, just like you said,
I didn't think about that. None of that.
Another thing I feel like us girls and maybe some guys tend to do is that we think that we're in love. So some signs, to me, again, is all my opinion. To me, is that when you're in love, or when you love someone, because you might be like talking to someone and you're like, do I actually love this person? Like you don't really know. I think one is you look past their flaws. That's definitely a big one. Yeah, you look past their flaws. Secondly, you have unconditional, I guess we can say love for them. Yeah. To the point where like you forgive a lot of the things that they do.
Or that bothers you.
Yeah.
That they do. Like things
like
that they
if
do
you have
that
any pet
you.
peeves and they do it, that's
you're like,
probably not gonna follow. Yeah, that probably is not gonna bother you. And I think that that's a big thing that a lot of people don't really think about. And I don't know, because I'm thinking about it, I'm like, but is that toxic? Do you think that that's being toxic, or is that actual love?
Because I think that's love, because I feel like toxic would be the opposite. You wouldn't.
No, but I'm saying if you keep forgiving them, right? Would you consider that toxic because you continue to
like
forgive
you
them?
Being toxic?
No, like the relationship being toxic. You get it? Like, okay, so let me give an example.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
You guys are arguing a lot and about the same thing. It could be about him not answering, taking forever to answer. And you guys are arguing, and you continue to forgive that. But is it because you love them, or is it because it's toxic? Like,
I don't know. I feel like it should be because you love them and you want it to work, and like you want that person to change. Like we said before, I don't feel like it's toxic though. I don't think so. I mean, some people can look at it that way, definitely, but I don't think so. I think it's mainly love.
I don't think so either. I would think that that's love, but my question is, when would you constantly forgiving this person be considered toxic? You know, because then sometimes you look at a relationship and they're arguing a lot over something, and you're like, that's toxic. But then sometimes you're like, oh, but she loves him, like, you know. Is it petty arguments that you argue about, like,
I don't know. I feel like it depends on the argument and how bad they are, because I feel like it would be love if it's something dumb, like something small, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. But if it's a bigger problem, a bigger argument where they're like literally going at it, I feel like it could be toxic if it's nonstop, like all the time.
Yeah,
I don't know, you know.
I mean, and
it depends, like how people see it. Because me and you can look at like couple arguing. You can think it's toxic. I can think it's love, and we'll be like, but like, what did she do that made it seem like it was toxic, or what did he do that made it seem like it was love? You know. Yeah. So it just depends on how people actually see it too. Because you might think that. And
I also think it depends on, like, how much it affects that other person. Because let's say, I mean, obviously, I feel like I've been in a toxic relationship, and I feel like he kept hurting my emotions. He kept pushing me down. So it wasn't, we never really had an argument. Barely ever. But it was still a toxic relationship. So, yeah. I don't know. I think stuff like this is so tricky because it's like like a barely like a
Like you
line
said
where
right now,
such
you
a
guys
thin line.
barely argued, but it was still a toxic
Yeah,
relationship,
yeah,
you know?
it was so
So that's a little tricky right there too, because how can the relationship be toxic and
With no arguing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's because I guess some people belittle you, and that's exactly what he did. So he made me feel like I couldn't be like, hey, can we sit down and talk? Look what you did yesterday. It really bothered me. I couldn't really do that with him. So I feel like that's why it was toxic, because I could never talk to him about anything. And then when I would, he would gaslight the situation. Meaning, for people who don't know what gaslighting is when they basically turn the tables on you and make you feel like shit. So you could be like, hey, I didn't really like that you yelled at me. And gaslighting would be them telling you, well, I yelled at you because you made me feel like shit. So then it's like
Or they'll
putting
be
the blame
like,
on you.
I yelled at you because you yelled at me the other day for doing this. Or something like that.
Yeah, and then you end up feeling bad, and you're like, oh, like I'm so sorry, and then you're the one
Yeah.
ending up apologizing.
Oh, that gets me so mad. I'm like,
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And they don't even notice.
I feel like since we talked about this before, we said that I haven't been in love with before, but I have loved someone. I feel like loving someone, you just, I don't know, like, I feel like you feel it. Like, you're like,
You know.
oh, like, you just want to be with them. Like, you just want to hug them, like, be around them all the time, do everything with them. Like, you just want to be with them, literally.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's just how you know.
Yeah, a lot of girls and a lot of people are like, well, how do you know? And it's like, you just
You'll
know.
You'll know when you love someone.
Yeah, you'll definitely know. Like, and then I feel like sometimes you do feel like you do love them. Cause like going back to our first, like when we first started making this podcast, I mentioned how one of my little 3 months little dating thing, I thought I loved him, but then after a while you're just like, I didn't. But then again, you still know when you do love someone, or when you're actually in love. If you're in love, you're definitely gonna know. That's not even a question.
Yeah. If you're in love, you for sure. If you love someone, you should know too. Like, you can't be like, do I love them? But that's tricky because let me tell you, because me with my partner that I have now, before we started telling each other that we loved each other, I was like, but do I love him? Am I supposed to say it now?
Well, yeah,
Like, do I
for
know
love,
this, that? I was
Yeah.
like, so like we said before, we would just tell each other that we have a lot of love for each other instead of saying. I feel like we weren't ready to say it to each other. I feel like I was just like, I'm not gonna say it until he says it. Like, I was like, ah.
But I think that you okay, so one of the main question, I'm messing up a little bit here, but the main question that we had today was, what's the difference between love and being in love? And I think we just kind of also again answered it. The difference is that when you love someone, you may not be 100% sure, but when you're in love, you are 100% sure that you love that
We
person.
just said it right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you have to know.
Yeah, you have to know, which goes back again to what we were saying earlier. When you are in love with someone, you know that you want to spend a future with them. And
You're sure of
ready,
it.
and you're ready for it. You're sure and you're ready for it. Versus when you love someone, you just kind of like, you see yourself with that person and you love being with this person. It's not that you don't love them, but it's just like, it's a little less intense than it is being in love with someone.
And you're not sure that you want them in the future. Like, maybe you might be sure, but you're not ready for it, you know?
Yeah. You might not be ready for it at all. But when you're in love, you're just ready. Because I remember, like, when I was in love,
I have his kids right now.
I was ready to have kids. I mean, I love kids, so I'm ready to have kids whenever. So, guys, remember the difference, and please let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I feel like
comment down below.
I really want to read the difference,
and I want to hear someone else's opinions, like you guys, because we heard our friends, our family members, so we want to hear you guys.
Yeah, I really want to know, because now I feel like everybody does have a different perception of what love is and stuff. So please comment down below. I really want to read. I really want to read your guys' opinions.